Go.
Hello, my name is Jamila McMallow, and I'm a mindset coach and relationship expert for high-performing women. And I'm so thrilled and excited because today I'm interviewing my amazing client, Nicole. She is an entrepreneur. She actually creates custom comfort food and custom cookies for events and other businesses. And she's absolutely amazing. She's also emerging Mary Kay consultant, and she's just doing all the things and moving and grooving and shaking. And it's just been such a joy to work with her. And it hasn't really been very long. We're continuing, but we're just getting started. And I just wanted to have her share a little bit of her experience and some of the things that I've been able to help her with. And so, yeah. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good, good. So why don't you share with us a little bit on how you found out about me? Why did you even reach out?
So I found out about you from a friend. I was personally going through some things and I hadn't even really talked to anybody about what I was dealing with. It had been a rough year. I had just had surgery. The body was going through changes. I was going through all of this stuff. And then I talked to my friend and she sounds great. She's like positive and she's like, repeat after me. You can do this. And I am wonderful. And I'm like, who are you? And what did you do with my friend? Because she just had so much happiness and energy about her. I was like, what's going on? Spill. What's in the tea? So she that's when she told me about Jamila. And so I wasn't quite sure what I needed at the time, but I knew I needed something.
Yeah. And so I know that you reached out to me and we had a conversation, really a powerful conversation. And why don't you share a little bit about what some of the realizations were, or even some of the results or transformations you got just from that conversation that maybe I wasn't even aware of, that had, over time started to show up in your life?
To be perfectly honest, the thing I remember from our conversation the most that hit me was, why do you keep in contact with your abusers? When you said that so directly, it made me think of when I was working in the court system and we had to deal with advocacy centers and different situations with children that were in abusive situations. We had to deal with different things. And I said, wow, like if I was dealing with one of those, that's something I would have said to them. And now I'm putting myself through a situation that's causing me toxicness. That's not the word, but this has to change. And that's when I started to make changes.
Well, I'm sorry, I had muted myself so the camera wouldn't shift to me. But yeah, so tell me about some of the changes that you started to make.
I started cutting out people that I felt were toxic. And maybe if not, I think when you're dealing with your feelings, you're dealing with your emotions, and you're dealing with what you can handle on your plate, it's not even about that person. Maybe it's not about deciding, are you a toxic person? No, it's what we can handle. And my plate was getting fuller and fuller and fuller. And I just knew that certain people were requiring something of me that I couldn't give. So I started cutting it back, and I kind of started from zero, and very slowly I started bringing back in. When I did that and I stopped worrying about other people, because I'm a huge people pleaser, I realized that I started focusing on what I needed. And that helped me to start doing a lot of things that I wasn't able to do, to put things in motion. But yet there was still something lacking. I was able to identify that something was holding me back. But then I was like, okay, now how do I get rid of that? How do I get past that? And that's when you really, your information on YouTube, LinkedIn, different things, different videos, it helped me to see that that's where I needed the help. I finally could identify it, but how do we get it out of there?
Right. And so you shared something with me that I thought was huge. You had shared with me that you hadn't lost any weight since 2017. And this is before we actually officially started working together. So Nicole is just talking about a conversation that we had. She hadn't enrolled with me. She hadn't paid me anything. We just had a very powerful conversation that was transformative for her. And this is what happened. And so we didn't start working together until months later. But tell me what you shared with me about your weight loss journey. And I'm not a weight loss coach. So this is just one of those side effect benefits that comes when we start really focusing our energy and attention on ourselves and doing the things that we need to do to really show, that sense of love and care for ourselves, really valuing ourselves, recognizing that we have worth, So why don't you
Exactly.
share a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, honestly, and just to give you a little bit of background to especially those that are watching, I've dealt with chronic endometriosis, which is something that's very hard to identify and that no one likes to talk about. It's something that I have learned I have to talk about. I mean, 2 surgeries later, I was told that I could lose part of my organs because there was so much damage, so much adhesions, there was so much stuff going on, fibroids. So I dealt with this for 20 years. So now in 2017, we started getting the health on track, right? I had to move. I had to go find a surgeon that would operate, who would take my case. I was high risk and had this life-saving surgery. Afterwards, tried to get back on track, lose some of the weight. And I noticed that the pain came back. Now, this pain, we're still working on finding out what it is, but I have dealt with chronic pain for years. And to be honest, as I'm working with you, it's not even been that long, the pain is dissipating. When that pain started to dissipate, so did the weight. And it's funny because one of the things I told you, I love music, I love poetry, I love writing songs, and I'm like, I love cheese. Okay, so I love cheese. I never thought I could give up cheese, let alone for myself. So I'm like, but it was one of the foods that was harming me. But I had this attitude of like, as we say in Spanish, ya pa que, right? Like whatever, like what is it even worth? Right. And so I didn't put the effort into myself to cut back on the foods that were hurting me.
Mm.
So I wrote a poem, I let go of cheese, and I kept moving, And now it's like I don't even think about it because it's like that was something that was not good for my body. There's other things to do out there. And now my weight loss journey is not something that's weighing me down. It's part of my daily routine. And it's because now I'm focused on taking care of myself and making sure that I feel good.
Good, good. And so, fast forward now. So we have that conversation. You start losing weight. You start kind of making these changes. You cut off relationships with toxic family members, abusive family members. And then it's like, I don't know, was that 5 or 6 months later when I'm walking through the store and I get this call from Nicole and I'm like, okay. And I couldn't answer it because I was in the store, but I called her back. And why don't you just share whatever you can remember, from that conversation?
And, I still kind of get chills about that day because it's one of those experiences that go, what is it that made me call you? Something made me call you. But in the last 5 to 6 months from our first conversation, I saw the changes. I convinced myself because of my insecurities, because I couldn't trust my decisions. Maybe this isn't what I needed. I needed investments to fall from the sky, right? Because it is an investment to work and to take care of yourself and put you first. And I was like, I set myself up. Oh, I can't do it. Right. But I still saw the results. And I'm like, this is powerful. This girl needs a shout out. Like somebody has to tell her she's doing amazing stuff. And so during that time, as I'm cutting out certain relationships, and I'm realizing that my in-laws move in with us. Now, my in-laws are elderly. They don't speak English. They only speak Spanish, which is fine. I speak Spanish, but they are at an age where they're showing signs of early onset dementia, right? So we're dealing with that. We're dealing with depression from the change. We're dealing with the language barrier, and I'm doing everything. And in the back of my head, it says, do everything you can. Don't worry about yourself because you don't want your husband to leave you. Now I have a great husband. He's not going anywhere. And he appreciates everything I did, but I burned myself out. I ended up getting pneumonia. I busted my eye from coughing too much. I have to get eye injections. And I'm like, there's not anything left of Nicole. My nickname is Coco. They'll call me Big Mama Coco because I'm always there for that big hug. And I'm like, there's nothing left to me. And so I'm like, I still need help. And so I called you and I was like, I just want you to know what you've already done. Now, to be honest, I didn't know where that conversation was going to go. I had no idea what was going to happen from there. Right. But what happened from there was powerful.
Yes. And she stepped into her leadership, she became empowered. I empowered her to make a powerful decision. And she did. And she made the decision to work together. And she was like, that's it, I'm in. And here we are. And it's only been, it hasn't even been 2 weeks. It hasn't even been a full 2 weeks. And, we've done some powerful exercises, especially around, healing the trauma from childhood, around the relationships with our parents and things like that. And why don't you speak into some of the realizations maybe that has given you, maybe even the perspective or shifts now in the way that you see yourself, even your husband. What are some of the things that have come up for you so far in this process that are like, whoa, that have like already changed your life?
There's so much. So to give you a background, I was adopted. Now I was adopted at I was almost 4 years old. From the time I was born till about 4 years old, I was moved around from foster home to foster home to foster home to foster home. Okay. When I was adopted by parents who gave me everything.
They were not the same race or culture as you. That's important to mention. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Because
So
you were really like a foreign resident in your own house.
Exactly. Yep. And I was, and with their good intentions, I think they wanted to just kind of make it a smooth seal. Like, she came from us, she's us. And I'm like, I am a 5'11" African-American woman. Okay. My mom is 5'1". My adoptive mother is, she's 5'1". They're white, German descendant. Like, I didn't look like them. And, as time went on, they provided what we need. We had a home. I lived my life. I've been able to do a lot of good things, but then there was some thing lacking emotionally. And I think that comes from someone else's childhood traumas. And I think one of the videos you mentioned about what is a childhood trauma, right? It's something that impacts us and shapes the way that we see things or how it affects us. And so there wasn't that ability to freely express yourself. Emotions, so I put that aside, and I was already repressed before they got me. I remember him saying that, it was really hard for her to open up. I was like, who are you? Like, this is another pit stop, I'm going to be leaving. And so now I'm not 4 years old anymore, but all these things start coming back up and I start remembering these things. So now it's impacting even to go buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah. And let me just cut in here really quick. So basically, what Nicole is explaining, that I had shared in a video and that I've said multiple times, is that all of us, every single last human being on the planet, has experienced childhood trauma. Why? Because none of us were raised by perfect parents. Nobody had perfect parents. And so because of that, we all experienced some type of effect from that parenting. Most of it was unintentional. Most of it was unintentional because our parents couldn't give us what they didn't have. And in their own minds, believing that they're doing better for us than what they got, which could have been true, they all they could do was just give us that, and of course, your situation was multifaceted, right? Because you had the biological situation with those parents that, you didn't know, that sense of abandonment. And then, you're adopted into a family to where you really feel like an outsider. And so you just never really were able to experience that bonding, that just the things that you needed in order to not only heal from that initial abandonment, but then to just feel like you were wanted, desired, worthy, valuable, all of those things. And so whether they tried or whatever, it didn't happen, right? And so here you are now in your late 30s and you're a grown woman and you're realizing, okay, they couldn't give it to me. Fine. I'm done living my life with the baggage they heaped on me, with the damage they did to me, unintentionally, intentionally, whatever. It doesn't matter. What's done is done, but I got to live with me. And so that's what you are doing, is you've stepped into your power as a woman and made the decision to start giving yourself what they did not give you. And so, how does it feel for you to hear that?
I mean, Jamila, that's why people need to know about you, because you expressed everything that I've been praying to be able to say clearly, because I've always had the attitude, I'm not an aggressive person. I mean, as we continue to reveal my emotions, who knows what we're going to find. But anyway, I repress, I hold everything in. I hold everything in. Even if I'm driving in a car and you're driving crazy, I'm not going to tell you you're driving crazy. I'm just going to go, And I'm literally at the point where I can't hold in anymore. And so because I knew they had good intentions, I knew that they didn't wake up and say, I want to make her life miserable. I just held it in. I held it in. I didn't know how to express what I needed. So what you just said is just so powerful because it is so true. And when you get to the age where I'm at now and you're trying to navigate, how do I deal with what I've went through in the past? How do I not hurt someone who can't emotionally handle to hear how I feel? And at this point, I'm already, I'm married, I'm living my life, I'm not even anywhere near there. How do I move forward from that? And that's when you realize that it has to come from you. This is work that you have to do. And this it still gives me chills because you just expressed it, and that's what I'm ready to do. And now I have to shift my focus because I'm now married. I have a good husband. And now I'm finding myself wanting things from him that I was like, oh, okay, well, what is this? What's going on? And I'll give you a great example. I was able to tell him yesterday, I need you to protect me. And you know what he said? He said, thank you.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, I need you to protect me in these few months because I feel raw right now because of everything I'm going through. I'm opening up boxes and I'm feeling things and I don't know what to do with them. He says, no, he says, I'm going to protect you always. But I could never express that to him. So what did I do? He tried to protect me from someone hitting me in the face. I'd just say, get out of the way. Let me take it. Right. And then
Right.
I'm like, that hurts. Why didn't you protect me? And
Right.
but then it's like, I don't want to tell you to protect me because then that means I'm vulnerable. That means that I'm letting my guard down. And these are all the things that another powerful thing you told me. You said, Nicole, what's going to happen? All this stuff is feelings from the past. This has already happened. Because my anxiety, my high anxiety is like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if I start unraveling all this? I'm just no, it's already happened. It's already happened. So now just how do you implement it into your life? How do you let it go and be able to express that? And so that was huge for us. That was a gift. I mean, if you can get to that point, you're going to find out that the majority of your disagreements, we have a saying that is, if you're hungry or tired, the arguments don't count. So we never had a disagreement. But when you look at the majority of reasons, it's going to be a miscommunication. I'm mad at you. Why? Because you didn't do what I didn't tell you to do. And you should have known.
So you had an expectation
exactly
that you had a fear of verbalizing because you didn't want to appear vulnerable or needy, and you didn't want to experience disappointment. See, when a child grows up, when a little girl doesn't have her needs met emotionally when she's growing up, when her mother, when her father don't give her what she needs emotionally, she's not going to all of a sudden become a grown woman who communicates those needs to her husband, even if she has a good one who wants to be there for her. Because he has nothing to do with what's going on in here. This predates him. It was there before. And so I love that you said that now you feel like you can share with him. You can speak into him and tell him what you need. And what I hear when he's telling you thank you is that he feels like, oh, finally, she's letting me love her. And so how has your relationship changed?
It's great. And I think that day that I called you, we were under so much pressure. We're still under pressure with his parents live in their house. I mean, we have a small house and there's two people that are, going through a hard time in it. Okay. So there's not the privacy that we used to have. There's not the peace of mind because you're like, what's going on? You're always trying to take care of them. And yet we just found a way to navigate through those hard times. And I think what's new about this hard time, we've been through economic hardship. We've been through my health. We've been through things like that. And this situation is really all about expressing yourself. It's really about telling each other how you feel and not being afraid. And now when we go sit and we go outside and we look at the moon and we talk to each other, we can really get real. Like, we always say we're real. And I was like, I'm not being real. Because if I tell you I'm mad at you, I'm afraid that you're going to say, you know what, I'm out. And he's not going to do that. But then I realized too, that if I tell you that I'm mad, even though there's a reason, right? I always rationalize in my head, well, I'm not going to say I'm mad because obviously this happened because of this and that. That's just the way it is. And something else you told me, you're like, but it's a feeling. It's your feelings. It doesn't matter if the reality is, I'm like, it's a feeling. So now I'm mad. and this is why, and this is how I feel, right? I've been working on saying how I feel about something. And sometimes I still get butterflies in my stomach because I go, oh, I just expressed a feeling. But then
So you were saying,
yeah, it's been good. I think.
sorry about that, mom life. Every now and then, a kid makes some noise, so we gotta. So you were saying, sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. I was a nanny for almost 20 years. I totally get it. But what I was saying, we were talking about the marriage, and I think if I could sum it up in just two short phrases. First, you said that my husband said, thank you. She's letting me love her. And I think for me, I'm saying, wow, I'm letting him love me. And this is
Mhm.
great. I'm letting myself actually enjoy something I've had the whole time.
Yes. So now, what would you say to someone who maybe is thinking about working with me, but is on the fence?
Have a conversation with you. Have a conversation with you, because when you go to make this decision, it is really literally all about you as the person, your needs, what you have going on, and what you need. Um, what you offer is not just something that works and works quickly. I mean, like you said, I'm in my late 30s. I don't have time to be hashing this out for years and years. Like this, no, I got things to do. I got people here. I got people here. I'm trying to run a business. There's not time for that. But on top of that, not only what you offer is an excellent, I don't want to say service, because it's like what you do, right? You're offering a service and it works, but you have so much understanding in it that it makes it such an easy decision once you start talking to you. But you're not going to know that until you sit down and have that conversation. Because yes, you will see this, and I can tell you right now, my life has changed. I feel great. And it's only going to get better. I actually said for the first time, I'm looking forward to the future. Like good things are happening. Good things are happening. Oh my God.
I
But
love it. I love it.
when you have that conversation, you know what you need, but she'll be able to put it in words, because we're like, well, I think I don't know, or we don't know how we feel, or we have 9,000 things. She's gonna target it, she's gonna pull it out and say, this is what's going on. And then you'll have clarity and you'll be able to figure it out. But if you are guided, or you have an opportunity, or if something impels you to work with Jamila, honestly, just do it. Just do it.
Well, thank you, Nicole. This has been an amazing conversation. Why don't you tell folks where to find you? I have a lot of women in my audience who are entrepreneurs themselves, business owners, or in corporate, who are always looking for, we're always looking for food, that. So when you say custom comfort food and you can ship, I think you said, and you're in the Georgia area, so you can deliver as well, I guess, if you're in Georgia. But yeah, tell folks where to find you.
So the website's coming soon. It's going to be Coco's Cafe Georgia. So GA, cocoscafega.com. And I'm also going to be with that same word. You put the little @ symbol. This is terrible. I can't remember what it is, but if you go to @Coco's Cafe GA, it's going to take you to my website. I'll be on social media. I will be on a social media platform near you, right? And I will be available by website. I really love the personal touch. So when you see that and you're looking for something, whether it's a cookie tray for an office meeting, or you just want to send someone a box of cookies that's really going to make them feel like they're having a great day instead of a bad day, that's really what I love to do, to give something that special touch. So just look for me there. And I would love to work for you. If you have special diet restrictions, if you have something that you're like, I'm looking for a vegan, gluten-free, cookie, but I'm allergic to 97 things, let me know. We'll see what we can do. I love to personalize things. I love for you to be part of the experience. I'm going to have a blog. We're going to be talking about some of the things I'm going through with Jamila. We're going to be talking about healing. We're going to not as much as Jamila's going to be talking about it, but we're just share experiences, being an entrepreneur, trying to juggle taking care of in-laws, if you have kids, if you have a chronic illness, talk about chronic illness. Let's talk about life and bake cookies together.
There you go. Talking and baking cookies and eating them.
Yes,
That's the
with
best way to
Mama
do life.
Coco.
Yes,
And Coco is my nickname. So if you're wondering where the Coco
Coco.
came from, yeah, that's me.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Nicole, Coco, for this incredible conversation. As you can see, my clients are phenomenal women doing amazing things in the world, and really are like so many of you out there watching, just except they've had the courage to step into this journey, to step into their healing, to really step into themselves so that they can become the version of themselves that has everything it is that they desire. Because like Nicole said, it's within you. It's within you. If we're always looking outside of ourselves for something to make us feel a certain way, be a certain way, oh, all I need is a man and then I'll be okay. No, you won't. You have to become the type of woman who knows how to be in a happy, healthy relationship with a good man first, and then he'll show up. You have to learn how to become a woman who can receive the love of a good man in order to really enjoy and be fulfilled in the marriage you already have to a good one. I mean, you know that, if you're disconnected, then you're not really benefiting from, like you said, I've always had it, but I wasn't tapping into it. And how long have you guys been married, by the way?
8 years.
Yeah. So see, that's almost a decade. That's like me and my husband. So yeah, so I want to thank you guys for watching this testimonial interview with Nicole. She's amazing. If you can't find her online, let me know. And if you yourself want to begin your journey of transformation, if you're ready to get real and heal, then you can book a call with me at coachjamila.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we can have a brief conversation about what's going on with you and what working together might look like. All right. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.